What if I told you there's a lake in California that disappeared more than 100 years ago, and now it's mysteriously come back to life? Sounds like a plot twist in a sci-fi movie, right? But this is real, and it's rewriting everything we thought we knew about nature's limits and humanity's impact. Today, we're diving deep, both literally and historically, into a forgotten giant, Tulare Lake. Once the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi, it was a shimmering inland sea that spanned hundreds of square miles. It cradled a vibrant ecosystem, served as a sacred homeland for indigenous tribes, and quietly witnessed the rise of civilizations around its fertile shores. We'll travel millions of years back in time to uncover the lake's origin, shaped by powerful geologic forces and ancient oceans. We'll explore how human hands drained it dry and how, against all odds, nature has now brought it roaring back. So, buckle up. This isn't just a story about water, it's a story of resilience, forgotten history, and a shocking environmental comeback that no one saw coming. These ancient floods didn't just reshape the land, they sculpted destiny. What began as periodic ocean surges millions of years ago eventually gave birth to an isolated inland basin, cut off by the rising of the coast ranges and the relentless grinding of the San Andreas Fault. This slow-motion tectonic ballet created the perfect cradle for a series of vast lakes, the grandest of them all, Lake Corcoran. Imagine a lake so immense it swallowed 19,000 square miles, nearly the size of present-day West Virginia. Lake Corcoran wasn't just a body of water, it was a prehistoric titan, a force of nature that shaped the very soils that now feed California's agricultural empire. Over time, as the Earth shifted and climates changed, Corcoran receded. In its wake, it left behind smaller but still mighty lakes, including one that would capture both ecological wonder and human ambition, Tulare Lake. For thousands of years, Tulare Lake was the jewel of California's interior, a shimmering mirror in the heart of the Central Valley, fed by the snowmelt from the Sierra Nevada and surrounded by vibrant wetlands. This was a land of plenty. Migratory birds filled the skies, Tule elk roamed the marshes, and indigenous communities flourished along its banks. The lake wasn't just water, it was life. Even its name, Tulare, comes from the tule grass, a native sedge that lined its shores, holding the soil together and nurturing a delicate, thriving ecosystem. The people here built their lives around it, crafting boats, shelters, and tools from its reeds. They lived in rhythm with the land, with the water, with nature. But then came the settlers. By the mid-1800s, European settlers cast their eyes on the San Joaquin Valley, not for its beauty, but for its potential. Tulare Lake, in their view, was wasted space. What they saw was a blank canvas for agriculture and water that could be redirected, controlled, tamed. And so began one of the most dramatic hydrological transformations in American history. Over the next few decades, a web of canals, reservoirs, and dams emerged like veins across the valley floor. The once mighty lake was siphoned off to irrigate fields of cotton, almonds, and tomatoes. As the water retreated, so did the wildlife. So did the Tule. So did the balance. By 1895, Tulare Lake, once the beating heart of California's Central Valley, had vanished. What had stood for millennia as a shimmering oasis of biodiversity had been drained and replaced by dusty plains, endless rows of farmland, and stretches of arid desert. The transformation wasn't just rapid, it was radical. In just a few decades, human engineering had reshaped an entire ecosystem. Gone were the lush wetlands that had sustained generations of wildlife and native communities. In their place stood monocultures of almonds, pistachios, and tomatoes, thirsty crops planted where migratory birds once soared and tallgrass rustled in the wind. The valley's intricate natural waterways were fragmented and redirected into a patchwork of levees, irrigation ditches, and overdrawn aquifers, all designed to serve one purpose: industrial agriculture. But when water is forced to obey, nature remembers. Fast forward over a century. After years of punishing drought that left reservoirs cracked and soil crumbling, California braced for yet another dry season until something extraordinary happened. In the winter of 2022 to 2023, the skies opened up. Relentless storms dumped record-breaking snow onto the Sierra Nevada. By spring, snowmelt surged into rivers, overflowing their channels, and almost like a ghost returning, the Tulare Basin began to refill. At first, it was just puddles on dry land, but soon, water pooled faster than it could be diverted or soaked into the ground. By early 2023, the long-lost Tulare Lake was back spanning 30 square miles and growing fast. Experts warned this wasn't a fluke. If wet seasons continued, the lake could expand to 200 square miles or more, threatening to rival some of California's largest reservoirs. For reference, at its historic peak, Tulare Lake stretched over 600 square miles, and in extreme flood years, up to 790, a size that made it the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi. But this wasn't just a scientific spectacle, it was a wake-up call. As the lake reclaimed its ancient territory, it brought chaos with it. Levees failed, unleashing floodwaters onto farmland and small towns. Homes were submerged, roads were erased, and thousands of residents, many working in the region's $2 billion agriculture industry, were forced to flee. Crops were ruined, livelihoods disrupted. Damage estimates soared into the billions. The flooding has raised questions about whether these industrial sites could leak pollutants into the rising waters, threatening groundwater and surrounding communities. It's a collision of two powerful forces: natural resurgence versus industrial legacy. And perhaps this lake, this forgotten giant, has returned to remind us of that. Thanks for coming on this journey through time and water. The story of Tulare Lake is a powerful blend of history, nature, and resilience, and it has only just begun. If you found this video enlightening, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue exploring these critical stories, and together, we can build awareness about the challenges and wonders of our changing world. Until next time, stay curious and stay connected to the planet we all call home.